I knew there were going to be lots of people who would just not like me for who I am anymore. And it felt very easy for me to be like, well, I'm simply just going to not care about anyone that doesn't take me as who I am. As someone who's historically been a people pleaser, heard the you can't please everyone all of the time, and always sort of secretly in my head was like, but maybe I can.
Yeah.
It's nice to be like, I literally don't want to. In fact, it feels nice to piss some people off.
Beyond cis male, cis female, non-binary, trans male, there are more.
We're swimming in like the gender soup
of different experiences.
Gender is like a marker of time, thinking critically about what inclusion means.
So much of womanhood is tied to whiteness, is tied to thinness.
How do I identify myself? Faggot.
Non-binary.
As femme as humanly possible.
I'm a cisgender gay man.
A binary trans woman.
Theatrical and flamboyant. Dykes who identify as twinks.
A gender conscientious objector.
I just kind of forget that I have a body.
Drag helped me unlock the power of my femininity within a masculine persona.
Transitioning when you're older,
it opens up an entire world of possibilities.
I bloomed. I blossomed.
Comfortable in my physical body for the first time in my whole life.
Existing
in a more nuanced way.
In thought, in imagination, in fantasy.
My gender in my head feels like the cosmos. Just fully unknowable, even to myself.
I wasn't trying to be a gender. I wasn't trying to be a race. I was trying to be a point of energy in the universe.
That's amazing.
I love that.
So, kind of crazy. I've been watching our guest today on YouTube since I was like in middle school. So I was so excited to get to talk to her. And I feel like a lot of folks listening might also have a similar experience or background watching her content.
Yeah, probably so. For those of you who are a few years older than Babette, like me, maybe you haven't seen our guest's content from back in the day, but here's a little bit of background. Charlotte McDonnell is currently a huge streamer on Twitch, but she is huge in YouTube. Her background is just being like very famous YouTuber. She was the first person in the UK to hit 1 million subscribers back in 2011. Some of you, if you're like me, you had just graduated college and
graduated college into okay.
No, not that far off. Hold on, let's do quick napkin math.
When did you graduate college, Allie?
I graduated college in 2012.
That's when I graduated 8th grade.
No way.
Yes. That's when I went from 8th grade to high school.
I simply love this game where you're like, our age isn't that crazy. And then you're like, you were in the 1st grade when I was a sophomore in college.
Right. That's how it feels, but it's like, oh no, that's really different. Okay, anyways. Hard tangent.
Exactly. Charlotte like sees this episode is listed as age is just a number.
Exactly.
What are you, we didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that at all. Throw a little spin. Okay, where were we?
Oh, right. I'm on my deathbed. Okay, back to the intro. I did go back and I love watching like her newer content. It was really fun when we were researching for this episode. And she is so sweet. She was just like an extremely pleasant presence.
Yes. She's amazing. That was the whole vibe, even of her older content, was just like, this is an incredibly smart, incredibly cool, sweet, and talented person. And that still rings true today. So for a little bit more background, in 2019, she took a break from YouTube and then came back in 2023 by posting a video that was an update on her life, her gender, and the new projects that she was working on. So as someone who had watched her content for a really long time, watching that video and seeing like how much more happy and confident she was after taking a break from the internet, it was really nice to see. It was very sweet. It was very heartwarming. And it was also just cool to have another reminder that being trans is like so freeing and actually is life-saving amidst all the bullshit transphobia that we hear on a daily basis. It's like being trans actually does save people's lives.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to see a person like really blossom, especially when you have like a parasocial relationship with them where you're like, I care deeply about you.
Yes. No, it's like through the screen, I'm like, something's up today. Something's happening with her today. What's going on? Something's a little different. Me with Moodang the hippo. I'm like on the live stream, like, What's up with her today? What's going on?
Yeah.
She's clinging a little closer to her mom today. What's happening?
Yeah, exactly. I think she might have had a bad dream.
No, exactly. Yeah. Anyways.
Would you introduce yourself to our audience in any way that feels comfortable? Pronouns, astrological sign, what you eat in a day.
Yeah, so I'm Charlotte. I had a big old burrito bowl half an hour ago. Most important part of my identity. Trans lady, she had done content creation for a very long time, since about 2007 when I started YouTube. These days mostly do Twitch. Done some screenwriting stuff as well. Made a show for everyone's favorite mobile streaming service, Quibi. Shout out to Quibi.
Quick Bites.
All right.
Yes, Quick Bites. That's what it stands for. That's me.
You were kind of my entire middle school online experience. I was really such a YouTube girl. Allie, you were on YouTube kind of in the other way, but were you ever like a YouTube person?
No, this is, I think, something good about our show is that Babette and I are what I would call drastically different ages. And so I missed all of your YouTube videos. So this is fun. But I also feel like the title YouTuber has found me.
Yes.
Right.
I don't know if you feel this way, but people tell me I'm a YouTuber.
I definitely embraced that. I embraced vlogger. I identified almost more as a vlogger before than a YouTuber. Yeah. Because my whole thing is I started when I was like 16. It was very much the talking into like a 15-pound webcam in my bedroom, trying to do little skits and stuff by myself. I started in like 2007, so very long time ago.
Yeah. I am curious, how and like why did you kind of start doing YouTube? Like what was kind of the catalyst for that?
I feel like my catalyst for that was something that is very difficult, I imagine, to get now, which is that it seemed incredibly accessible.
Yes.
The moment I found out that there were people who were doing video blogs, that it was like a thing you could do where you could just talk to a camera and that was enough. I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Totally.
Now it's like you need to begin with what's the overarching topic of your video essay series. You're going to produce these hour-long, things. It seems like it would be much harder to get into now. I mean, I tried to get back into it, and I'm intimidated enough.
No, that's so real. It's like, you're just like, oh, this seemed fun, let me do it. And now it's like, you need like a Mr. Beast multi-million-dollar like production budget or some crazy shit like that. So,
or like a team of like intellectuals to help write the essay that you're then going to deliver straight to camera, kind of like edutainment.
Precisely.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like Twitter kind of took some of that energy of, I'm just going to say it here, like some of my like micro update thoughts, and now everybody can do it. And I feel like that was the fun of early YouTube, where it was just like day in the life.
Whatever. Exactly.
Although I still watch those, honestly. That's kind of TikTok for me. I'm like, why do I know everything this woman ate in a day?
No, exactly.
Like, for multiple days. And like how it changed.
I love that shit though. I don't know what it is. Like, yeah, TikTok has definitely replaced that for me, but I've always loved that kind of, what I do in a day. I don't know why. It just scratches that kind of part of your brain, I think, you know?
Yeah.
I am not on TikTok, but I do. I feel like my equivalent is Twitch. Like I watch a lot of Twitch streams, which is like there are lots of friends I've made through Twitch, but also there are like people I watch who I still kind of like get the insight into their lives and their personalities, and feeling like I'm spending time with someone in sort of like a semi-parasocial way, but it still it feels nice just to like have some company. I feel like that's my equivalent these days. I don't really watch YouTubers that much anymore, to be honest, either.
Yeah, there's something kind of second screen about it. Have you heard this term where it's like,
Wait, I haven't heard it. Like, what does it mean?
It's kind of like you should be able to be doing something else while this is playing.
Oh, yes.
A lot of shows are being written in this way to be like second screen, which is kind of a detriment to writing, honestly, as
Yeah.
a whole. But things like a podcast that's like a chat podcast, I feel like are super popular because you're like, well, I need to cook dinner. I live alone.
Yes.
I'd love for a couple people to just be making jokes the whole time. You know, or like,
I think the epitome of my ADHD is I sometimes will watch a show and then like I'll do split screen and I'll watch home decor videos on silent as I'm watching the show. I just need content coming out of all ends at all times. Otherwise, like I'll have a thought and like that's so scary.
I think it was literally yesterday. I was playing Fortnite and I had my friend's stream open and he was playing Tekken, and then he had like another screen inside of his stream which was playing 90s commercials. So
I love it. I don't care. I know my
just keep me stimulated.
yes, blast me away.
I know my brain is rotten and I don't care. It feels really good. It feels really good and I don't care.
It was really fun to watch. Like I got to go with fresh eyes through and like watch your latest videos. So you left YouTube in like 2019, right? And then you came back in 2023 with a video talking about your gender. Would you walk us through the moments leading up to recording that video?
Sure, yeah. With that video specifically, it presented itself, I think, as more of like a gender reveal than was necessarily my intention, because I just haven't made a YouTube video in such a long time, so I had a bunch of other shit to talk about as well. In terms of that video, I think I maybe came out publicly about 6 months before that. Just on Instagram, just like putting a picture out there. And then I was doing my Twitch streams as well. So I was out for a while there. So there were a lot of people who kind of already knew. So I was pretty comfortable being out, I guess, by the time I made that video. So I think a lot of the people who really knew me just from YouTube and only YouTube watchers, I guess, to them it was like the big coming out moment, I suppose. So it was nerve-wracking. I was sitting exactly where I am currently when I recorded it. Just trying to think.
Time is collapsing.
Yeah. I just remember thinking, God, it's so weird to be looking into a camera and talking to it again, because that's something that I did every week for a big part of my life, and having to like edit myself again. Because again, I mostly do Twitch now, and it's like, you don't have to worry about editing. I'm talking to a chat. I'm not looking at like into the camera. So there was this weird level of, it feels like strangely artificial all of a sudden. But I think I was very much sort of like in my peak trans joy euphoria. And I was just like, I'm so happy to be me, you know?
Yeah, totally.
It felt pretty good to do that. I think especially because part of the reason I found myself veering away from making YouTube videos is I felt so beholden to be the person I thought people wanted me to be, based on a persona that I came up with when I was like 16. I remember being in like my mid to late 20s and being like, I just have to move on from this persona and just be myself for a while and figure out who that is. So it felt pretty good to come back and be like, okay, I figured that shit out now, you know?
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, that's great. Kind of dip your toe back into something so familiar, but you're like, no, I'm my own person now. I don't have to like approach it in the same way.
Yeah. I thought I was going to make more YouTube videos than I ended up doing.
Why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is? It's still sort of scary to be a trans person in public spaces. I did have to sort of deal with a lot of combing through comments and having moderators to help me try and make this like internet space feel as lovely and comfortable as I could for myself, which is a very difficult thing to do with YouTube comments.
Totally.
It feels like anytime I make a YouTube video, I do feel like I'm sort of like standing on a stage presenting myself to people. And I kind of want to be like the best version of myself for those people. I don't think it's necessarily really like that. I think that's something I could work through just by just like uploading a bunch of crap, you know, every week. I feel like I could get over that if I wanted to, but it still feels like this intimidating thing to put myself out in front of that group for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I wish it wasn't.
Totally. YouTube feels like going to the airport. You're like, oh, every type of person on planet Earth is here, and all their children are staring at me. Like, it's like,
Totally.
So yeah, I totally get that like universalizing feeling where you're like, I stand for all trans women on planet Earth when I say this. And anything you would say to the no trans women in your life, you'll say to me. Earlier, you were saying that you had already been out for like 6 months before making that video. And you were saying that you had already come out on Instagram and Twitch. And I feel like when we're these public-facing, very online people, there are so many layers of coming out and people close to us and different audiences. How long had you been out to not anyone online, your community?
I think it was like maybe 3 months. Wow. Maybe slightly less. I did find that period when I knew I was trans, but had to sort of like still make believe as a boy online. That was particularly excruciating. And once it finally clicked for me and I was like, okay, now I'm showing up in costume all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That period felt really bad. So I remember I did that for a while and then I just like pieced out of like doing anything public. I was just like, I just need a month. I need to go get my girl haircut. Like I need to just become myself now and then I can slowly trickle back on. Yeah.
About
so
stuff. Like
much. Yes.
Because I was on that part of the internet, but like when I mentioned Allie, like people really knew you as like a figure. So it's like, you know, when that change happened, I'm sure you relate to what Charlotte's saying.
Well, totally. But I think the nature of sketch comedy where I was working, you had a hair and makeup team. And so I really relate to that drag in between moment. We had really great hair and makeup, honestly, at College Humor, but sometimes they couldn't make it. So we had new people. So I would just be like, great, they got a really old headshot of me. They think they're doing makeup on a girl.
Yeah.
If I ask them not to put any color on my lip, then maybe I'll let them do blush and and like mascara. I'm like navigating these kind of things of just like how much is too much. Yeah, that period is pretty particularly excruciating. So it's kind of a nice blasts you into like, yeah, wanting to present how you want to present after that.
So when you kind of took that break from YouTube where you were like, this persona I've created is no longer fitting who I am. And you kind of took this period to kind of reflect on yourself and your identity. Like, what were some of the tools that you found helpful in those moments to figure out who you were? Like, were you in therapy? Were you going to friends? Were you journaling? Like, do you remember what that was like?
Honestly, spending a lot of time with friends who had no connection to anything public facing, who weren't YouTubers, who weren't content creators. Because I did... Before I moved from London to Toronto, like all of my friends in London were people I'd met through YouTube. And then when I was in Toronto, pretty much everyone I knew through my girlfriend at the time. And, you know, they just like had corporate jobs. Some of them worked in like filmmaking and stuff, but there was nothing like, no one really related to what I was going through. And I found that really nice. Just to sort of be just a normal person for a while. Around a lot of people who knew what I did but didn't really care about it. It is nice. Yeah. It's nice to have those people, for sure. So that was very helpful. I definitely went through some therapy, but I still never talked to a therapist about any gender shit.
Yeah.
I was always too nervous to do that. It was always in the back of my mind, but I was always intimidated by the prospect of it.
Wow. Yeah.
In a way that sometimes feels like I was maybe right. I remember talking to a therapist once about bisexuality and I almost felt like I became a project for her a little bit in terms of like trying to figure out, how do I, at the time, bisexual man, this is like interesting to me.
Oh my God.
It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. So that kind of closed me off from that a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Truly, the thing that happened is I went through a breakup and then I was like, okay. As soon as I was in my new apartment by myself, I was like, okay, we have to sort of address this trans thing. Like, we've got to just put on a dress and look in the mirror and just be like, so let's just, figure this out one way or the other. And then I was like, oh yeah, crap. Okay, got to deal with this.
That's interesting that you say the breakup because there's such a weird push and pull between gender, sexuality. You're always on different sliders, like turning something up.
It's
but
so
when you're in a
relational.
relationship.
It's so
yeah,
relational.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's very similar to the experience I was going through with YouTube, honestly, where I was like, I need to be this type of person for you. Like I need to be your boyfriend. And that's part of how I define myself is through that. And so by separating myself from that, I was like, okay, now I don't have that attachment anymore. I can start to explore this stuff by myself again.
Whoa. Yeah. When you came back to Twitch, what went into you deciding to return to these things like Twitch? Like, does Twitch feel like more communal to you than YouTube? Or is it like your job? Yeah. Are there a lot of things going into that draw?
It is work. It's work that I enjoy doing. And it's the stuff that I find much easier. one of the nice things about Twitch specifically is it is a little hard to pass. Like, it is much less like the airport metaphor that you were describing. A lot of people do not even want to engage with Twitch because they just immediately are like, I don't know why I would want to watch someone else play a video game. And so they just like check out. And I think that barrier to entry means that it's much easier to sort of like filter people coming through, which I think is what makes Twitch so good for building a community of people. That's why you'll see vastly different cultures between different people's Twitch streams and chats, which doesn't feel like it is the same on YouTube. You do sort of feel like anyone could come through and say whatever shit they want and feel entitled to that.
Right.
Yeah.
When someone does that on Twitch, I can just call them a bigot and then kick them out as well.
Yeah, your mods are there, ready, incredible.
Exactly. And, you can sort of make an example of that. So then there are like, way more people who are saying, yes, that person was a shithead for saying that. It just feels more like, even though that can happen, it feels very bad when it happens live like that. It's nice to have like a safety net of good people. I found that I was able to, have a online community that felt much stronger than I ever did on YouTube through Twitch. I also just knew a lot of people who watched me were queer too. It just felt like a much more comfortable place to hang out as myself.
That's really fun too, because I don't know if you've felt this, but sometimes I feel kind of like if all I'm talking about is gender, it can feel like it's missing something else, or like there's just something so repetitive or identity, or I don't really know like who I'm even trying to talk to. Other than like this project, this feels like its own like singular thing. But when I'm thinking about making videos or something, so it's kind of cool that you have Twitch, so you have something else going on. There is your interest in games, you're chatting and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
I do feel like my transness really does come up only on Twitch when I want to make inappropriate jokes or something. And then otherwise, it's about how good I am at Fortnite that day, or how funny I feel like I'm being with the people who are interacting with me. That was one of the things that was really key to me when I did make that sort of like first video coming back. I was like, I'm going to talk about the gender thing, and I'm going to talk about 20 other things as well that I've been doing. Like, this is important, but also please remember that I'm a full, complete person, and this is like the primary thing you want to focus on in reference to me.
Yeah, totally. I do want to play Fortnite with you sometime.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Maybe you're even barely getting by making minimum payments. With credit card debt hitting record highs, National Debt Relief offers real debt relief solutions for people struggling to keep up. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may be able to pay back less than you owe, regardless of your credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe 10, 20, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living increases. To find out how much you could save, visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Fuck yeah.
Would you want to talk about your digital footprint and deleting past videos?
Sure.
You've mentioned that you wanted control when you can over what you're seen as, like on different channels and stuff. How does that decision feel for you? I'm curious if it feels like it might change, or if you're like, this has felt really good and this is a gift I'm giving myself, or...
I think I still have like enough dislike for the people whose only interaction with me is, when are you going to put the old videos up? That I sort of feel like I sort of never want to do that.
I'm giving you nothing.
Exactly. Because it does feel like my priority in terms of like having an online community, having like an audience online is to the people who are interested in what I'm doing today. And honestly, when I made the video and I was like, I took all of the old stuff down, I might put it up later, I just sort of didn't really bother thinking about when I might put stuff back up. It still feels like I feel bad that I haven't posted more stuff on YouTube, because it would be nice to just like have just a bunch of stuff there when people Google me again.
Right.
But I still feel pretty comfy with it being all gone. Maybe like my website has been under construction for like a year or whatever previously before I had it that way. I still had like short films that I'd made and was like up there. That stuff sort of like felt better because it was separate and it felt more like, I don't know, work that I'd done. So I might at some point put some stuff back up. I did some educational science content for a while. And when people do message me about that, like these were like a helpful like resource. That's the stuff I feel like worse about, where I'm like, okay, maybe just for those people they can have that stuff back. But it's also like I'm a big fan of like the fresh slate. I'm one of these freaks. When I have 100% at a video game, I like to delete my file for some reason. Like I just like just starting again for whatever reason. It just feels good.
Oh, I feel that. Yeah, totally.
And I think it should feel like, I almost want it to be more of the default that you put stuff out there online and then like after a certain amount of time it just like, it should be more likely that it gets deleted or goes away than it used to be like a forever footprint.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
I kind of had that because I lost my Instagram in college. I got locked out of it, so I made a new one. And I will say it's very nice that like my Instagram is from like 20 onward. Like that feels very good. I'm like,
yes.
Amazing. Okay, this is more like who I am. You actually don't get to see me at like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Legit, if I wasn't trans, I still would have felt really good about removing a bunch of videos I made when I was 16, you know?
Yes. No, it makes sense.
There's something that you're saying where you're like, I feel bad about not putting those science videos back up. And it's really making me think of being in a parasocial relationship with a large number of people and kind of like the, you know, the shame that you get, or like I owe it to them or something like that. Has that come up at all in ways around like your gender that you've like had to work through, or has it felt like the people who make sense to keep in contact with have kind of followed you to Twitch and that's kind of where you feel like at home?
I think it was much easier for me post transitioning. Like I knew there were going to be lots of people who would just like not like me for who I am anymore, and it felt very easy for me to be like, well, I'm simply just going to not care about anyone that doesn't take me as who I am. I find it much easier to sort of like, better to do more like curation in terms of an audience and do shit that's going to put some people off.
Yeah.
That actually feels good now because it means that I've probably gotten rid of some people who just like are not my people.
Yes.
And not for me. And that's, as someone who's like historically been a people pleaser and was like, you know, heard the, you can't please everyone all of the time, and always sort of secretly in my head was like, but maybe I can, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice to be like, I literally don't want to. In fact, it feels nice to piss some people off.
Yes.
You know?
Totally.
That's been a nice journey.
It feels like so much of a part of just kind of getting older in general. I feel like where it's just like, yeah, I also kind of used to be like a people pleaser, and now I like revel. Like I love when I'm like, here's a boundary. Like I'm like, oh, am I pissing you off a little bit? Good. Oh, it's just like, oh, I'm actually really not for everyone. And I actually love doing things that piss people off a little bit because I'm like, well, this is for me, not for you. I'm not like intentionally stoking. No, I'm not trying to make people angry.
You're not an edgelord.
I'm not an edgelord, but it does feel so good to be like, this feels so right for me. And the fact that it feels so wrong for you. And like, I don't feel any conflict in that at all. Like that actually feels amazing.
Yeah. It's cool that there's probably like a really giant swath of people, of all the people who watched you, we're talking like millions. There's probably a chunk of like aggro transphobes, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm cutting those people out. And then there's the super sweeties that you're like, I want to talk to you every day about sexy frog. And then, but I bet there's like this massive chunk of the population that just now knows someone who transitioned. Like, it's like, they don't have an opinion about it. They're just like, wow, now I know someone who did, like, people feel like they know you personally, which is the whole issue of parasocial relationships. But that is interesting that now that's just in their head rent free.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, Charlotte is trans. Okay, like moving about my day.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm stuck on sexy frog.
Oh, sorry, it was hot frog. It was hot frog, right?
Oh, yeah. Hot frog.
I don't even fucking know about hot frog.
Well, I've watched the videos, Charlotte.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The video game. I forgot that she's also like that's just a little frog lady character who's also feels like she is me. She's just like a little frog creature just trying to be hot, and she is, because that's what she wants to be.
She's fucking stunning, I will say. So this is a video game that you're creating as just like a super side project. Fun
was
thing.
When I made that video a while ago.
Oh, right. That was like over a year ago.
Are you still have you been experimenting with making video games recently?
Not too recently, because it is really hard to make a game.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of need a mastery of like every craft in order to be able to be someone who could make a video game by yourself.
It's like storytelling, game theory, animation.
Yeah. It's a lot. And it's fun to mess around with on occasion, but I really need to be in like the right headspace for that.
Yeah, just in a deep hyper focus.
Yes, exactly. For whatever reason, it happens every Christmas. One Christmas, I became obsessed with Blender, and I just I followed a ton of tutorials and made the like 3D donut that everybody does.
Oh my god!
Those are sort of my moments, and it feels good to come back to that stuff and realize I've actually retained a lot of that kind of knowledge. That's nice. I would still like to make a game at some point, but again, it's difficult, especially when you have a bunch of other stuff you want to do as well.
Yeah, totally.
Would you ever? I know we just talked about like gender not necessarily being everything that you do, but I am curious like what a trans video game would be like, or are there kind of video games that are kind of trans coded? I'm not really in the gamer world in that way.
Celeste is a really big example of a very trans coded video game. I believe one of the main creators came out after releasing that game. There are also so many games that I feel like when it comes to what the stereotypes are about me as like a trans lady, one of the things is like my obsession with Dark Souls. So there's some stuff that I feel like Bloodborne feels like a trans game to me. Even though I don't know if it's like literally is. The good ending of Bloodborne is you turn into like a space squid. That was trans enough.
Have you guys ever played Curtain? An online game? It's interesting. It's like a online game, really lo-fi, but it's about like being in like a slightly destructive queer relationship, and like the space and kind of graphics are meant to embody that. It's kind of interesting.
What?
Mm-hmm. I played it once like in college or something. It's not really like a game. It's like a, just kind of like an interactive like little like web experience. No, because I think a game has like a goal. I don't think there's really a goal with like Curtain, but I don't know. I think like what makes a video game queer or trans is kind of like an interesting prompt or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That still sounds like enough of a game to me.
Okay, amazing.
I do, as someone who plays a ton of games and plays some incredibly difficult games that people do like to gatekeep, I'm a big fan of not doing
amazing. I love that. Well, I just don't know. I'm like, I don't know what counts as a game. Like, I'm using my arrow keys. Like, is that a game? Like, is that what it means?
We're on a 10-year plan to turn Babette into a full gamer D&D person.
Dude,
so it's going to happen for them.
I'm kind of down. I'm pretty down for it, I think. I don't have too much else going on right now. That sounds good.
I think those kind of interactive experience games are like a good place to start. Storytelling games like Gone Home, which is a game where it's just like you play as this like woman who's returning to like, I believe it's like a childhood home and like learning about stuff that's happened while she's been away at college. It's been a long time since I played it, but it's a lot of just like interacting with objects and trying to figure out the story of what happened in the time that you're away.
I love that.
That's kind of it. Like there doesn't have to be a goal beyond just learning that story. Those games where it's like the interaction part is very like minimal, but you get a storytelling experience you can only really get through an interactive medium.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like that a lot.
I think that is really up my alley, so that's very helpful. I love that.
Yeah.
I love like a storytelling, like kind of narrative build. That's very cool. Love it.
I might send you some recommendations of just like nice storytelling games.
I would love that because I think that is my association with gaming, where I'm like, oh, I have to get a gaming computer and be in my room for 10 hours a day. But I would love just like a chill
and feel bad about myself for continuously losing. That's
exactly
that sort of thing.
Wait, Allie, do you play video games? I don't think I knew this about you.
So I got into Fortnite because I love to feel bad about myself. I'm so bad at it. It's like literal like 9-year-olds are like stepping on my neck.
Yeah.
But I do love to game, and I'm recently just wildly into Magic the Gathering. So it's not video, but there is like an online version of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had a follow-up to the stuff about gaming before. Do you like play D&D at all, or like role play tabletop type games?
Yeah, no, I do. I've been DMing for about like a year.
Oh, no way.
Cool.
That's so cool.
Oh my God, I want to hear the games you DM. That's so cool.
I mean, the game itself is like not super exciting because it's like very much baby's first DM, and I'm playing through the official D&D starter set with a bunch of friends who like all have been in campaigns previously that have fizzled out, and so it's just like a group of people who all really want to have the campaign where we go from level 1 to level 20 together.
Sick. Oh wow.
We've been doing that for like a year. Originally we were meeting like once a week. Now it's like maybe once like a month or so. So I actually really want to start like another campaign. I think I've started to accept that I am the forever DM of my friends now. But I really want to like come up with my like own campaign setting for the next one.
Cool.
But I really like DMing a lot. I tell you what I like about it. I really like just embodying tons of different characters with like different personalities and genders. Yes. And just like feeling really comfortable just to like play around. It's like sort of like an intimidating shopkeep who's like, I imagine like being from like East End London, who's being kind of like intense and just like plucking all of these characters out and embodying them for a bit and just like making my friends laugh. So but yeah, it's more recent. I think me and my friends all just played Baldur's Gate 3 and then we were like, we have to play D&D.
Sure.
We just need to do it. Yeah.
I still haven't played Baldur's Gate.
Oh, Allie, you should.
I'm not ready for the sexual awakening.
Yeah, so true.
I really like Baldur's Gate 3. I've tried to play it like 3 or 4 times, and it's just simply too big of a game for me to like spend too much time on. I think it takes up the same sort of space in my brain as D&D. So when I'm thinking about DMing stuff, like I don't have room for Baldur's Gate 3 at the same time. So I have to play something that takes up no space in my brain, like Fortnite.
Yeah.
For someone who like someone being me who doesn't know Baldur's Gate, like what's the vibe with that? Like, is it just kind of like a similar type of role playing, mythical type of game? It
is set in the same world as like the default D&D. It's set in the universe of D&D, and it uses a lot of the same rules and mechanics that you would find in D&D, just sort of like translated into a video game instead. You can make tons of choices and the story can go in lots of different directions sort of vibe, which is why it's so enormous and you can do so much in it and so many things can happen.
Oh my gosh. Charlotte, I wanted to ask you about your name change.
Sure.
Are you doing a Charlotte over Charlie, but sometimes go by Charlie situation, or like what was the name change like?
What happened is I made an Instagram reel where I was like, I'm going by Charlotte now, Charlie's still fine. And then like a week later, I was like, no, it's not. I just
yeah.
But I was like, I can't make another one of these fucking videos. Like,
wow.
So yeah.
I mean, that's on they, she.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I was using she, they pronouns for a while as well. And I feel like I'm still very comfy with they, them pronouns. But like from some people, I'm not. Like from some people, I remember there was an article that came out about my coming out in like the Metro or whatever, and they exclusively they them'd me, and I was like, no, I said a bit of both, please, and and that didn't happen. So I feel like part of the reason I changed over to just she, her is I just wanted people to not do that to me anymore, you know?
Totally.
No, that makes sense.
Would you walk us through however much you feel comfortable sharing with your transition? What has felt really good? Have there been certain like euphoric moments that stand out to you?
I feel like there were more at the beginning, but it feels less so now. It just sort of feels like self-care more than anything now when I sort of put on my makeup and put on a nice dress or whatever. And it feels more like it's something I'm just sort of doing for me. I actually went through, speaking of dresses, it's actually taken me a while to get to dresses. I think I still had a mental block on that for a very long time. And there's always the question of like, do I not want to wear this because I have this sort of like internalized transphobia still? And I'm like, that's not something you're allowed to wear. Or do I not want to wear it because like, oh, actually maybe my personal style is like t-shirts and shorts and that's just who I am. Turned out it was just about finding the specific items of clothing that I felt good in.
Yes, totally.
More than anything else. But I feel like I'm at sort of like in terms of just like feelings about my own gender identity now. I'm just at a very comfortable kind of like baseline all the time, which feels good. It doesn't feel like there are a lot of peaks and valleys anymore. It's just kind of like just nice and flat in a way that is really comfy.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's amazing.
You're just some woman.
Yeah.
That just sounds like the life of some woman. Like,
exactly. That's all I really want to be. I want to like not have to think about it a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah, that's really cool to not have it be so high, low, like it is when you first start, and everything just kind of feels so charged.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the first time I was like I went through that breakup, and I was like, I need to figure out this trans thing. That was my first time like earnestly trying to go full girl mode. And then I just looked at myself in the mirror. I was just like beaming myself. I was like, okay, all right, well, I figured this out now. Now we have to actually do the thing, I guess.
I love how you describe it. It's almost like a chore and a checklist you have to do. Like, okay, we got this. I have to do this now. Like, okay.
There was so much fucking admin like coming out online as well.
Yeah.
I had to like talk to my trans friends and be like, can we talk about internet security? Like, you know.
Yes.
Stuff. Yeah.
So what does that look like? What have you broken down like as far as like boundaries, internet security, usernames? Like, let's get crunchy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember... Did I get unverified on places through name changes? I'm trying to remember. I feel like there's one place I still haven't changed. Oh yeah, actually I need to change my YouTube name over from Charlie to Charlotte McDonnell. But I know that when I do that, my account will become unverified. And I will need to go through that process again, which is like annoying. And I know sometimes they like ask for documents and stuff, and it's like, well, the passport still says Charles, so that's not gonna work. So a lot of the time it's just easier to put that stuff off. But yeah, a big part of my transition was getting a password manager.
Yeah.
What?
That's so funny.
Where it like makes an insane long password for you for everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. We love.
A lot of getting authenticator apps for like two-factor, all of that bullshit.
Wow. Just
really trying to stay on top of all of that. I still get a lot of emails from people being like, someone's just tried to log into your MSN account or whatever, and it didn't work, but like I know someone's trying it. So I'm happy I put all of that stuff in place.
Whoa.
Again, I wanted to have my internet presence be reflective of who I am today. So going through every Instagram photo and removing the ones I didn't want up there. I feel like that's almost like a trope now that you scroll through a trans person's feed, and then at a certain point it just becomes all landscapes and like pictures of dogs.
Like all the pets and everything. Yeah. That plate of food looks really good.
Oh my God, that's so
beautiful
funny.
sunset.
Wow.
I am curious to know how you feel about that, Alec, with all of that stuff being still out there. With me, it's all just stuff that is just involving me and no one else, right? Or maybe some of my friends, but it's like I still have like full control, like ownership over all of that stuff. And how do you think about all of that old stuff still sort of like being out there above you or not?
I do think that there is something with misogyny going on where it's like more acceptable to be like a tomboy girl than to be like a trans woman. And so I think I just benefit from that a little bit of being kind of like that little rascal.
That is kind of the energy though. Kind of to the vibe of like, oh, Allie was kind of just one of the boys, you know?
Yeah, totally. Just like with like long hair that I look at and I'm like, LOL. Like I cut my hair super short when I was little. I had a bowl cut that was in fact cut with a bowl.
I had one of those too.
Yeah, we all go through it. But that felt so like euphoric. And then I went through like this stage that I feel like so many queer women / trans people go through where you just have really long hair that you don't give a fuck about. Like it's like you're constantly like putting it in a bun, like it's always in the way, but you have it and you straighten it because you're like, I guess I just need to do this. Social construct. Social contract vibes.
I like construct.
So yeah,
me too. I was
contract
it's
and
a construct. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt. I was constructed by it. I didn't have the clean break moment, but I didn't feel like I needed it. But I do kind of, with my name, am I just keeping my name out of ease and habit? It doesn't feel super flowery to me, so I don't feel dysphoric around it, but Could I feel euphoric around a new name? Probably. That's always open for me. Sometimes I throw out the name Albert at a coffee shop.
Albert.
And I'm like, hee.
That was sort of how I was with Charlie. I was like, this is a gender neutral name. It's always been my name. I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But it was only a problem just because for some reason, most celebrities named Charlie are like male celebrities. So whenever anyone talked about a Charlie who wasn't me, they were talking about a guy. That was the only time where I was like, oh, I don't like that little feeling I'm getting.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen.
Yes. Charlie Day, a lot of conversation about Charlie Day for whatever reason that I had locked in on. Yeah. So I think that's part of why in my initial video I was about my name change. I was like, it's Charlotte now. Charlie's still fine. I hadn't really learned how much better Charlotte felt for me.
Yes.
You know?
It's nice to raise the baseline from, well, this doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Right.
To like what would feel great.
Feel amazing.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of have that opposite thing from you guys in the sense that like my name is so distinct that I think it would feel crazy to have like a less distinct name, but I'm like, I'd probably be more into it. Like I give my dad's name at the coffee shop, and like I go to this coffee shop really regularly, so like the baristas that work there only know me by that name. I realize like they don't know my real name, and it is kind of wonderful. And I'm like, damn, am I gonna pull a junior type move, like be a J Junior type person? Because well, I do love the gender neutralness of the name, whereas like Babette is just like so distinct. It's also a family name. It's like my mom's middle name, that like it feels like so big that I'm just like, oh, I probably would be happier with something just a little more neutral and chill, but it feels hard. Like I feel like, what am I gonna move from? Like it's like if Beyonce transitioned and like her name was just like Dan or something, you know what I mean? Like it's just like I can't.
I think I'm really happy I never had to go through the process of trying to really like figure out the perfect name for me. I was just like, I'll just do the girl version of the name I already have and then just move on, and that's enough, you know.
Because it's familiar, but it's different.
I know so many people who do that or do the name that their parents would have named them. That feels like you still get the regular human experience of being like, cool, I appeared here, I'm navigating life, these old people named me. It's not a perfect fit. Like, you know, I'm gonna make do.
Right. Gender Spiral is an original podcast from Audiation. This episode was mixed by Matt Noble, and music is composed by CMD plus Jasmine, courtesy of Molten Heart, with art by Joey Hahn and graphics by Michael Tyrone Delaney. The show is executive produced by Ireland Meacham, myself, Babette Thomas, my co-host, Allie Beardsley, and Sandy Smullins, with additional story editing from Susie Armitage. Thank you so much to Charlotte McDonnell for making all of my dreams come true today by being on the show. You can find her on Twitch at twitch.tv/coollike and on Instagram at coollike. Both are linked in the show notes. If you like the show, please head over to patreon.com/genderspiralpodcast to support us. You can also check us out at genderspiralpod.com, where you'll find transcripts for each episode and a link to leave us a voicemail.
And follow us on Instagram. It's at Gender Spiral. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a new episode. They're coming out every other week.
Audiation.